In this video, we're going to take a look at how to draw a straight line using a table of values. So before we get started, let's make sure we understand what a straight line equation could look like. So for example, we could have y equals 2x plus 1. So this is a straight line equation, and we have an input, which we call x, and we have an output, which we call y. So there is a relationship between the x's and the y's. This equation is telling me that if I put in an x value, I have to times it by 2 and plus 1, and then it's going to give me the y value. So we're going to now use a table to help us to do this. So let's draw out a table. And in this first example, we're going to have x's and we're going to have y's. Now, we'll put some numbers in just a minute. But let's fill it out like this. And let's have negative and positive. So let's maybe have some numbers in that look like this. Okay, right. So all we're going to do now is to generate those y coordinates by putting in those values I've chosen already for the x coordinates. So the easiest one to understand is when I have x is equal to 0. So imagine we have x is equal to 0. Well, y would be 2 times 0 plus 1. Well, that's just going to be 1. What about when x is 1? Well, that is going to be 2 times 1 plus 1. Well, that's going to be 3. When I choose x to be 2, I'm going to have 2 times 2 plus 1. Well, that's 5. And when I have x is equal to 3, 2 times 3 plus 1, well, that will be 7. 2 times 4 plus 1 is 9. And you can see I have done my positive x coordinates, and I've got those corresponding values of y. Now let's go and carry on and do the negative ones. Now you can, of course, follow the certain patterns you might see in the table, but let's do this the more difficult way by using the negative numbers. So to get what y is when x is minus 1, I'm going to do 2 times minus 1 plus 1. Well, 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, plus 1 is minus 1. 2 times minus 2 plus 1 in the same way is going to be minus 3. And 2 times minus 3 plus 1 is going to be minus 5. So we filled out our table of values, and now it's time to use this to plot a graph. So the table of values can be used in the following way. We're going to take them in pairs because, of course, in that last example, the minus 3 is connected to that answer of minus 5. We put minus 3 in, we get minus 5 out. So that means I'm going to mark minus 3, minus 5 on my diagram. And we need to make sure we really know what the x-axis is and the y-axis is. So minus 3, minus 5 is there. Minus 2, minus 3 is here. Minus 1 is there. 0, 1 is there. 1, 3 is there. And of course, don't forget, I'm just pairing these up. The next one's 2, 5. So 2, 5 is going to be there. We have 3, 7 next, and that's there. Now, I can't fit the last one into my graph, but don't worry about this, okay? We're just going to plot the one that we can see. So at this point, we should look at that and think, well, we are in a straight line, all right? Any example from the work today should be a straight line. So we're going to join these up, and you will use a ruler. I do not have the power to use a ruler with this device, okay? And that is how to draw the correct straight line, like that, okay? This is the line y equals 2x plus 1. Right, let's try a different example, and this time we're going to try and save some time, okay? We'll make this a little easier, and we'll try and save some time. So let's go over here. Right, so let's make up another example. In this example, let's try to plot the line y is equal to minus 3x plus 3. Okay, so we're going to draw a table, but this time we're going to take some shortcuts, and we're going to think carefully about how we can do this. So it's going to start off the same way, we're going to have x's, we're going to have y's. And we're going to put some numbers into this, but maybe we won't need to do all of them. So as we already discussed in the first example, 0 is a really good one to choose, right? Let's put x is 0 in. So if I have x is 0, minus 3 times 0 plus 3, well, minus 3 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is just 3. So that's an easy coordinate point to find. Let's do that one. Okay. What about then when x is 1? Well, if I have x is equal to 1, I'd have minus 3 times 1 plus 3. So let's write in 1 there. What does that come up as? Well, that's going to come up as 0. Minus 3 times 1 is minus 3, plus 3 is 0. Okay, so next one we'll do, let's just do 2. So minus 3 times 2 is going to be minus 6. Plus 3 is going to be minus 3. Okay, now, we only ever need 3 points. And in this case, I'm not even going to worry about doing those other ones. Okay, if we can find 3 points and we do our math correctly, it's all we need to draw the whole straight line. Right, let's make and find these points. So 0, 3 is there. 1, 0 is there. And 2 minus 3 is there. So check that they make a straight line, and yes, they do. And then all we have to do is join them up. Okay, so that is the straight line equation, but we can continue that on as well. We can continue that on in both directions. And so we've drawn the straight line. This is the line, y equals minus 3x plus 3. Okay, so let's do one more. And just to make sure we've got this understood, let's try a different example again. And this time, let's make it more interesting. Let's try y is equal to a half x minus 2. So this looks pretty tough. That's okay. We can draw this one. So let's draw our grid again. And let's put in some values. And perhaps let's put in some negatives and some positives. Okay, it really doesn't matter. As long as we have at least 3, we can do this. So let's choose minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2 this time. We'll do a few extra ones just to make sure we've got this right. Okay, so exactly the same principle as last time. We're going to put those x values in. We're going to get those y values out. So we'll start from the 0, okay, because 0 is always the easiest to put in. A half times 0 minus 2, it's just going to be minus 2. Let's put in those positive numbers because those are nice and simple. A half times 1 minus 2. Well, a half times 1 is still a half, and a half minus 2 is minus 1.5. So let's write that down, minus 1.5. Right, let's put in 2. So a half times 2 minus 2. Well, a half doubled, so times by 2 is a whole. That's 1. 1 take away 2 is going to be minus 1. There we are. Okay, let's carry on. So this time we're going to put in minus 1. So a half times minus 1 minus 2 is going to be minus 2.5. And a half times minus 2 minus 2 is going to be minus 3. So now we can put in these coordinate pairs and hopefully they will make a straight line. So our first one is minus 2 minus 3. Then we have minus 1 and minus 2.5, which is going to be about there. Then we have 0 minus 2, 1, 1.5, or 1 minus 1.5, I should say, and then 2 and a minus 1. So ours do form a straight line, and so we are in a situation where we can join them up, and we're going to extend them on, just like last time, in both directions. Your graphs are limitless, only bounded by the coordinates that we decide to draw. And there we are. We've drawn the line y equals a half x minus 2.